Hello, everyone. This is Kevin L. Jackson, host of Digital Transformers and the author of Click to Transform. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Carlos Bravo, Director of Cloud Strategy Solutions at Ericsson, on how the company is enabling technologies for the 5G enterprise. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you very much, Kevin. It's my pleasure to be here with you today.
No, thank you. So Carlos, digitalization and cloud are combining to transform the telecommunications industry. What is Ericsson's strategy with regards to these communications service providers and hyperscale cloud providers as we see more and more of these partnerships being announced?
Thank you very much. Very good question. Well, our strategy is all around the use cases and the ecosystem collaboration.
Mhm.
If we, as you said, the digital transformation of the enterprises is actually bringing in great opportunity for CSP, for communication service providers. If we take a look at our strategy, it's actually focusing on three pillars. On one side is the CSPs being in front, addressing that business opportunity towards the enterprises. The second pillar is actually to work with all hyperscalers, and we actually request the operators to do the same because enterprises and use cases will have different needs. So it is important to have all the opportunities open and all the options ready to be used. And the third one is if we want to support the operators in addressing that opportunity and working with all the different players in the ecosystem, we need to deliver our products and solutions as stack neutral, meaning that we can work with all the different hyperscalers in the ecosystem. So use cases, ecosystem collaboration, working with all of them.
Are there any important commonalities or differences that you have identified on how these communication service providers are addressing the edge opportunity?
Yeah, as you mentioned, we've been working with several operators and hyperscalers, right? Recently, there was an announcement with Telstra and Microsoft. We had been working with them for 2 years already. We have Telefonica with Amazon, AWS. We have Telecom Italia with Google and others, other tier ones in Europe and North America. But when we look at them globally, what we see is that there are two approaches mainly. Some of the operators are looking into the hyperscalers as digital transformation partners from both on the IT space, but also on the telecom space. And there was an announcement from Swisscom very recently that is actually going in that direction. While some other operators are actually looking at the hyperscalers as a growth opportunity partner. They bring the necessary capabilities to actually bring additional value to the enterprises and therefore opening up for enterprise opportunities. And what we see it is important is that in both cases, it is a use case driven approach, right? Is about addressing the real pain points of the enterprises and bringing those solutions. It is about exploration right now, and exploration is key to work with all the players in the ecosystem as they get ready for the business opportunity that is going to come.
Hey, Carlos, can you describe some of these use cases in detail that you are currently involved with? What successes have you had?
We have seen a variety of use cases. And if I give one example, for example, with Telstra, right? We started exploring the use case within a specific industry vertical, this branch offload that they announced a few days ago. And now what we see is that once we have validated that the use case is actually a real opportunity, Telstra is now expanding this use case into other industry verticals. So we can see that it's already getting some traction. We have as well, for example, on the private network space, what we did with Telefonica and AWS, looking into using augmented reality in improving the industrial automation and industrial automation use cases. And for example, with another operator, with Telecom Italia and Google, what we are looking is actually how they can leverage the network edge for analytics in the industrial IoT. So as you can see, all as part of our strategy, working with the different use cases, bringing application providers or application developers together with hyperscalers and the operators in order to address clear enterprise pain points and clear enterprise needs, and then scaling from there.
Well, what's really surprising to me is how fast all of this is moving, and it's going cross industry also. Uh, what are the trends in this area over the next year or 18 months? And how do the CSPs prepare themselves for this fast running train?
Well, is we are now on the exploration phase, but at the same time, we are actually building the foundations for addressing the opportunity. When you say where we will be in 12 months or 18 months, I I think that we're going to be having already commercial use cases as we see the startings with Telstra, for example. So we will see enterprise use cases already leveraging 5G edge and working together with the hyperscalers. But building the foundations is important as well. And here we looked into operators building the capabilities to connect and control the networks and the applications together, bringing the ecosystem or enabling the ecosystem through exposure of those network capabilities. It is also important to work on the automation part and a data-driven automation in this hybrid cloud environment we're going to have with the hyperscalers and private cloud already deployed, right? And all of this from an enterprise perspective has to be consumed in a self-service manner, like they consume cloud resources today. So we need to be able to provide those capabilities. This is what the operators are working on right now to be ready for those 12 to 18 months.
Wow. So the communication service providers are becoming cloud native, so to speak, right? What
Mhm.
in the operational sense, there must be some key technologies to enable these new capabilities. How will the network be opened up? What considerations should they have?
It's really a good point is how the networks will be open up for those application developers, right? How do we make the networks available for application developers with the right abstraction? An application developer don't want to invest time on understanding the details of the network. What they want is to have a clear exposure layer with the right abstraction that they can use for consuming those services. And that requires an automation underneath. Then, if we looked into the application developers, they are already a globalized community. If you're an application developer, you want your application to work across different geographies where the use case is actually going to be deployed. So it is important as well that operators build alliances and work on those alliances to actually enable those capabilities. Standardization is doing an effort there and is part of the work. But we need as well that alliance on the higher abstraction that is going to be needed from an application developer perspective.
So I guess you're really abstracting the network technical aspects from the operators and the application developers so they can use it. Um, so this global partnership or this global environment needs to be differentiated locally, though. How how do CSPs differentiate locally while they're operating in this global environment?
If I take the negative answer of it, they shouldn't differentiate on the APIs or the way to consume those services, right? They have to differentiate on the services and capabilities that they provide and also the use case that they're going to be implementing based on their strategic approaches. When we looked into the services, providing network slices with the quality of service, different deployment strategies in the network topology. If I give an example, some operators leveraging their assets in number of sites, central offices to actually provide some use cases, while some others will actually look into private network deployments in order to enable those use cases. That is where differentiation will happen on the services and the use cases that will be provided.
So thank you, Carlos, for that great insight. For me, this has really highlighted how communications and cloud service providers need to partner to enable the 5G enterprise. It puts a spotlight on the importance of new services like network slicing and service exposure. These are important in global competitiveness across every industry. So thank you, Carlos, for joining us today. And thank you, the audience, for taking the time to learn more about Ericsson and how they are enabling technologies for the 5G enterprise.